Today we're going to talk about the Pythagorean Theorem. The Pythagorean Theorem says a squared plus b squared equals c squared, where a and b are the sides of a right triangle, and c squared is the hypotenuse of a right triangle. The hypotenuse is the side across from the right angle. It will always be the longest side. So in this first problem, we're looking for c. It does not matter which order we put a and b, so we can write 12 squared plus 5 squared equals c squared. 12 squared is 144. 5 squared is 25. 144 plus 25 is 169 equals c squared. To solve for c, we take the square root of both sides. 13 equals c. In this second triangle, we are given the hypotenuse because it's the side across from our right angle. So 12 is our hypotenuse, it's our c value. So we'll make this missing side b. So we have 8 squared plus b squared equals 12 squared. 8 squared is 64 plus b squared equals 144. We can subtract 64 from both sides. We have b squared equals 80. To solve for b, we take the square root of both sides. The square root of 80 is not a perfect square, so we're going to have to simplify it. So we'll factor this into 8 and 10, which can be factored into 4 times 2, 2 times 5. 4 is 2 times 2. We bring down our 2's and our 5. So we can pull out a pair of 2's and another pair of 2's. So we're left with 2 times the square root of 5. And that's our b. Now in this problem, we'll draw a picture. So Jenny rides her bike. She's got a bike. Sorry, I'm not an art student. So Jenny rides her bike 4 kilometers east. Remember our compass, north, east, south, west. So she's going to ride 4 kilometers east, and then she's going to turn and go 2 kilometers north. The question asks to find how far she is now from her starting point. To do this, we can draw in this line, and now we have a right triangle, where the distance we're looking for is c. So to solve, we can do 2 squared plus 4 squared equals c squared. 4 plus 16 equals c squared. 20 equals c squared. To solve for c, we square root both sides. 20 can be simplified. 20 factors into 5 times 4, which is 5 times 2 times 2. We pull out our pair of 2's, and we get that c equals 2 square roots of 5 kilometers. Now we know that if we have a right triangle, we can use the Pythagorean Theorem. So now we can use the Pythagorean Theorem to determine if our triangle is a right triangle. So we're going to take our side. That's the longest side. In this case, it's 3 times the square root of 34. If you aren't certain, you can plug 3 times the square root of 34 into your calculator. I think it gives you roughly 17. So we know that this is our longest side. So this is our c. So we're going to do 9 squared plus 15 squared equals 3 times the square root of 34 squared. 9 squared is 81. 15 squared is 225. To do this, we have to square both terms. So we do 3 squared, which is 9, times the square root of 34 squared, which is simply 34, because the square and the square root cancel out. On our left side, we are left with 306, and 9 times 34 is also 306. Because our a squared plus b squared equals our c squared, we know that we do have a right triangle. On the second problem, once again, we can figure out which side is the longest side. 2 times the square root of 30 is roughly 10, so we know that 14 is our longest side. So we'll do 9 squared plus 2 times the square root of 30 squared equals 14 squared. 9 squared is 81. 2 times the square root of 30 squared is 4 times 30 equals 196. 4 times 30 is 120, plus 81 is 201, equals 196. 201 does not equal 196, so this is not a right triangle. We're going to talk about the triangle inequality theorem. This theorem states that if two sides, the two smaller sides added together, have to be larger than the largest side in order for it to be a triangle. So in this case, our two smallest sides are 11 and 14. If we add them together, we get 25. 25 is greater than 15, which is our largest side. So therefore we know this is a triangle. This problem over here, our two shortest sides are 4 and 5. If we add 4 plus 5, we get 9. 9 equals 9. It has to be greater than the largest side. And since it's equal, we know that this is not a triangle. If the sum of the two smaller sides is less than or equal to the largest side, we do not have a triangle. Now that we know we can find out if we have a triangle, we're going to find out if our triangle is acute, obtuse, or right. To do that, if our c squared is less than our a squared plus b squared, we know that our triangle is acute. This means that all of the angles in our triangle are less than 90 degrees. If our c squared is greater than our a squared plus b squared, the triangle is obtuse, which means one of our angles is greater than 90 degrees. If our c squared equals a squared plus b squared, we simply have a right triangle. So moving forward, we're going to first verify that the segment lengths form a triangle, and then we're going to figure out if that triangle is acute, right, or obtuse. So to start, to figure out if it forms a triangle, we add our two smallest lengths together. 10 plus 11 is 21, which is greater than 14, so we know we have a triangle. And now we're going to do c squared. C, remember, is always our largest side. So 14 squared. We're just going to put a question mark because we're not sure if that's less than, equal to, or greater than our a squared plus b squared, which is 10 squared plus 11 squared. 14 squared is 196. 10 squared is 100. 11 squared is 121. So we have 196. And then on the other side, we have 221. Since 196 is less than 221, we have an acute triangle. Once again, we're going to verify that our segments do in fact form a triangle. So we're going to take our two smallest sides, 6 plus 8, which is 14. 14 is greater than our largest side, 10. So we know that we have a triangle. Then we're going to do our c squared, so 10 squared, question mark. Our a squared plus b squared. So we've got 6 squared plus 8 squared. So we have 100, question mark, 36 plus 64. We have 100, and on our right side we have 100. Since they are equal to each other, we know that this is a right triangle. Again, with this one, we're going to take our two smallest sides, add them together. 15 plus 20 is 35. 35 is not greater than 36, so this is not a triangle. Since it's not a triangle, we don't need to figure out if it's right, acute, or obtuse. In this case, our longest side is 6 times the square root of 43. Once again, if you aren't certain, you can plug it in your calculator to get a rough idea of what that number is. It's roughly 39, so we know that that is our largest side. So we're going to do 24 plus 30, which is 54. 54 is greater than 6 times the square root of 43, so we know that this is a triangle. So now we're going to figure out if it's acute, right, or obtuse. So we're going to take our c, which is our 6 times the square root of 43, squared, question mark, our 24 squared plus 30 squared. 6 squared is 36, times the square root of 43 squared is 43, question mark. 24 squared is 576, and 30 squared is 900. 36 times 43 is 1,548, and 576 plus 900 is 1,476. We know that 1,548 is greater than 1476, and so this triangle is obtuse.